Back to school can be a whirlwind, but it doesn't have to wipe us out. Today, we're talking about how to make the season smoother, simpler, maybe a little more sane, and a little less stressful. Welcome to the AI Empowered Mom Podcast. We are on a mission to reduce the mental load of parenthood using AI assistance. I am thrilled to be here today with Theresa Phillippe. She's the founder of Mombirds. She's a community builder, a marketing leader with experience at Glassdoor, Facebook, and Circle. And maybe most importantly, she's a mom who knows firsthand the chaos of the back to school season. We're going to talk about the challenges, some of the wins, and the ways that we can all feel a little bit more prepared. Theresa, thank you so much for being here.
Sarah, thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and who you share your household with just to get us started?
Sure. We have a big household. So I'm a stepmom to teenagers, and they also belong to my husband, who is a serial entrepreneur. He's a CTO of a fintech startup. And we also have a 6-year-old together. So we've got 2 teenagers. I have been stepmomming since they were 3 and 5. So it's wild for me to share that they're teens now. The oldest is headed into her freshman year of high school, which is a big deal. And then we've got a 60, he might be up to 70 now, pound dog who races around. He's 10 years old, but he has not slowed down yet.
Wow. So you've got kids going into 9th grade, 1st grade, and am I missing one?
9th grade, 7th grade, 1st grade.
Oh, well, we're going to get into all of the back to school stuff, and I'm excited to hear about how things differ at those different levels. But first, can you just tell us a little bit about your career journey? What has your career journey been like?
Yeah, lots of twists and turns. I actually went to University of Texas and I studied politics. I was in Austin at a time where Austin didn't have a huge thriving career world outside of maybe the semiconductor industry and politics. And so pretty early on in my 20s, I left to Washington, D.C., where I worked on information technology for political clients and lots of companies who are doing lobbying. I worked for Bloomberg and I helped them launch a startup called Bloomberg Government. But I didn't love the space that I was in politics. I actually was really thinking about community and wanted to help build community. And Facebook at the time had just launched an office in Austin. I was also looking at a way for me to come back home. So I left DC after 6 years. I came back to Austin in 2013 and worked at Facebook for about 7 years, helping to start up and boot up our small business side of the ad space, and then did a lot of product marketing. And it was around the time that I had our son, who's now 6, that I started to think about what's next, because it became increasingly challenging to, be leading a team at Facebook and doing all the things at home. And I knew that I wanted to leave eventually and start to go do something on my own. I picked an interesting time because I let them know that I wanted to leave in January, and it wasn't until smack dab in the middle of COVID, March, that I actually left.
Oh, wow.
Funny enough, it was the same day that they closed their doors was my last day there.
Oh, my God.
So my sort of going in the entrepreneurial direction or working for a really, parent-led company was sort of on the back burner while I managed through COVID. We had a 1-year-old. We were trying to homeschool our teenagers who we share custody with 50-50. And so it was just this wild ride in time.
Wow. Well, how did Mombirds grow out of those experiences?
Yeah, so many experiences, not just one. But I do remember, going back to work after having Davis, our son, and realizing that everything for me had changed. I cared more than ever really about mission. I cared so much about trying to work at the same clip that I had before, but then also be really present at home and doing all of the things at home. And it was so unsustainable. Angry, I've had these bouts of sort of frustration. I wish that it was whimsical, but really bouts of frustration around oh, great, I have 2 options. I can either go really hard driving at work and burn out and really miss out on all of the stuff that I want to be home and available for, or I have to lean out altogether. And I feel, kind of almost pushed out by the inability to do both in the way that I want to do both. And so it's those are my 2 options. There's nothing else. Leave workforce or go all in and burn out. Mombirds was really thought around this concept of all these other problems are being solved for. Right? SaaS products, a dime a dozen. I'm choosing between Asana or Monday, all these wonderful tools. But when it comes to running my household, while I'm driving a career and taking care of the kids, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of great solutions out there available. And I wanted to be able to take what I knew about tech and what I seen being built for other products and other problems and help solve one of the biggest problems, I think, of our time.
Well, we're going to get deeper into Mombirds in a little bit, but I'm so excited to hear more about your experience and what you hear from the moms that are part of your community. So let's talk back to school for a little bit and let's vent. Let's give ourselves permission to vent just for a minute. Can you talk to me about back to school challenges that you personally feel?
Back to school is like drinking from a fire hose. You've got this summer, you finally get into the rhythm of summer and you're like, all right. And then suddenly it just hits you come August, which is still pretty early on. And you start getting a flurry of the emails. You're trying to figure out all of the logistics, the signups. So back to school is like back to school, but it's also back to extracurriculars. It's also complete shift in time, logistics, drop-offs, pickups, coverage. You look at the calendar and you're sort of brace yourself for all of the days off. What are you going to do? And then trying to figure out plugging those holes. So back to school for me is, dare I say, one of my least favorite seasons because I feel like I'm heads down in August, September, and then I just maybe start to peek my head up around October, and then it's holiday season.
Holidays begin. Well, what are some of the stressors that you hear from moms in the Mombirds community about back to school? Is it getting them down?
Oh my gosh. It's decision fatigue, and it's how can I adequately prepare them to go into this school year? And I know we'll get into the differences in age groups, but it really ranges. It varies depending on, the age of your kid. I have friends in the community who their kids are actually starting to move into a big kid daycare, like full day daycare. And that comes with a lot of adjustments, both for the child, but then also for the parent who's feeling like, oh, this is a big step. There's, the first entrance into school, that kindergarten. Or for some, it's pre-K, but for us, it was really that kindergarten entrance into the new school. And that's a big challenge in transition. And you're not quite sure what your child can handle or what they're going to go through, but you're already held accountable to signing up for all of the things. So I think for a lot of parents that I'm hearing from, there's a lot of decision fatigue. There's still some unknowns on how are they going to adjust, but they feel on the hook for like starting to stack that schedule because they also have to think about work. And there's deadlines for signups and things like that. And then for the older kids, for our oldest going into high school, she's thinking about this as her ramp for college. So it's a different ballgame for her. The stakes are a little bit higher than they are for our younger kids. She cares quite a bit about academics. She is like that quintessential perfectionist. And so her eyes are set on this is the next 4 years, really determine what opportunities I have after that. That's a lot of stress for a incoming freshman, but we're working through things like that, classes to take and her schedule as well.
Wow, that's a lot. We talk a lot about the mental load of motherhood on this podcast and in the AI empowered mom community, but it strikes me as you're describing that back to school, not only does it have a heavy mental load, but it has a heavy emotional load too. Like thinking about the parents that are sending kids to big kid daycare or when your son went off to kindergarten, and the physical load of it is pretty big too, like just accumulating all the things that you need and getting someone from here to there. So the depth of the load on parents is high. Does that resonate with you? Is that what you're hearing from parents? It's mental, it's emotional, and it's physical?
100%. And it's not like one day is not the same as the day before because of all the activities or all of the things that come on your plate. I might get an email. So I'm waiting tomorrow. We'll find out who our son's teacher is, right? And even that, it's like that's going to require some then adjustment and figuring out, what class is he going to be in? Does he know anybody? Things like that. So it is, and then it changes. So it's like once you feel like you've got it down pat, then it's like, just like parenting, there's something new that comes into play that you kind of have to stay nimble for. It can be a lot.
I was wishing that they would publish the exact time that the school would announce the classes, because I would like to block my calendar for the hour after, to process the emotions, look deeply at the class list. And what if it comes during a very busy time of day? I feel like I need space to carry that load tomorrow.
Yes. Process it. There's so much to process.
Well, my kids are so smushed. I am also a mom of three, but I've had three kids in 18 months. So we're just moving like a herd, everybody going to do the same thing at the same time. And I want to learn from you, how do you manage the different ages? So let's unpack that a little bit more.
Because there are so many differences. I try and focus on like what are the commonalities so we can get into like the tips and tricks too. I'm currently resetting our launch pad to get all of the kids sort of ready every day and making sure that they've got what they need on the launch pad so that the rest of the house doesn't stay like it can get kind of chaotic in here. Of course, we want to stick to routine as best as possible, but for the older kids, like there isn't as much flexibility around that. Like they've made a commitment and their coaches and their teachers are holding their feet to the fire on things that they signed up for. And that's not quite the case on the lower end. So that's a little bit different of having to be much more flexible in how we support her and also taking those commitments seriously for her sake until she has the flexibility to drive herself. And then on the lower end of it, for, our middle child and our youngest, it's more about trying to figure out, we look at the full schedule and we figure out like, honestly, how can we plug in? So some things that we do is they each can have one activity at a time.
Okay.
Otherwise, we'd overload ourselves. And so we enroll them in what they want to pick and what they want to play. Now, the caveat here is that if there's something else and it allows them to stay at school longer or it becomes a little bit more childcare for me, then it passes. We can unlock that. But those are some of the differences. I think all three have nerves going into the new year. The mild exception would be our middle because he already knows all of the kids and he's going into the same class as the kids. But the other two will have brand new classrooms, classmates. Like the emotional bucket for me has to be really, I need to be able to like support them in an emotional way. Because this, Sarah, like emotions run really high those first couple of weeks of school and kids kind of like don't yet know how to process it all. And they don't always process it in the best, adults don't either all the time. So right now I'm thinking about how can I make sure that I'm calm for them so that whatever they come home with or experience, we at least got like a soft spot to land and process it. And that's not always easy for me. So it's kind of like almost what's different about them, but then also how do I need to like, what do I need to shore up to be there for the different stages and ages right now going back to school?
Well, how do you do that? What do you shore up so you can stay calm, cool, and collected and let them process their feelings?
Well, let me tell you, I do book a massage.
There you go. Good for you. That's great.
I do that first week. And I'll tell you, like, I don't usually do a lot of those types of things, but I know when it's a pressure cooker and I know when I met with any sort of angst or attitude on their end, if I don't have enough empathy and compassion because I'm tapped out, it makes things worse, not better. And so it's like, what are the little things? It is taking care of my health and really trying to like make sure I'm, so I don't drink really during the week when they're going back to school. It's a weird, honest to God tip because then my energy is a little bit better. I sleep better. I try and get rest and then I try and just fitness and health as much as you can. It's hard to do.
Wait, before we go on, take me back to the launch pad. Is that a physical place? What is the launch pad?
Okay, the physical launch pad. Yes, it's a spot where all the backpacks are, the shoes are, the water bottles are, like the things that they might need to put in their backpacks or switch around. It could be like towels if they've got something that they need to do after school, before school. It could be like school supplies all sitting there, but it's like the one spot that we reset. So in the morning time when they're coming down, all their stuff is there.
Wow.
It's there. And because the rest of our house can be like a tornado ran through it. And in the morning time, I can't handle like a missing shoe and we've got to go find it. So that's where stuff goes. This also is the same thing for digital devices. So we have all of the digital devices. They stay next to the launch pad. They get plugged in. They get charged up. They don't go in the rooms. And so it just keeps everything in one tidy spot.
To this controversial question, but do parents' digital devices go there too, or is it kids only?
It's kids only. However, I have been trying to plug my phone into a side room so that I don't see it. And I've been trying to replace the scrolling and making scrolling actually like a trigger for me to go read or listen to a podcast. I'm like 50-50 on it.
You inspire me. Well, if you had one wish, you could grant moms one wish for back to school. What would be your wish for them?
This one for me is support,
Hmm.
really, like looking at another mom and like commiserating where you
Hmm.
can and making them feel, because right now we're talking about my hacks and the things that were maybe more buttoned up and doing well. But beneath that, there's all of the messiness. It's
Hmm.
like the overwhelm, the emotion, the I'm not sure if I'm doing this right. Was this the right decision? How am I going to get all of this done? And so my wish for moms is to like let yourself be vulnerable and connect with other moms so that we're going through a lot of these things together. We can kind of cry about it, laugh it off,
Hmm.
and lend support where somebody's really struggling in a way. Not everybody will make the ask. Moms
Hmm.
especially have a really hard time making asks of themselves. So like offering up stuff and really trying to build the community in that way. It goes a long way. And I think that's what I want for everybody to like phone a friend type of thing.
That's beautiful. It took me right back to when my oldest started kindergarten, and I thought I was so ready and I didn't really ask for support or help, and then it was a really difficult transition. My sweet girl, my oldest daughter is a deeply feeling child, and she was very nervous, so much so that on her first day of kindergarten, the school called and I had to pick her up because she was vomiting. My husband had a blowout in his truck on that first day, and had in a dangerous part of Austin where we live. And I got the back to school stress is real. And it hit me hard when my oldest was going to kindergarten. And I should have asked for help or sought out more support. So that's a beautiful wish that you offer. And I'm not going to do that again this year. I'm asking for help. I'm bringing my circle
Oh,
together.
Sarah, I mean that what a first day.
I know.
Like
And she loves
you
school
can
now.
plan, but woo.
You're surprised with a tunnel vision migraine. Oh my gosh. Well, okay. Speaking of support and supportive community, for moms who don't know about Mombirds yet, can you share a little bit about what it is and how it supports moms?
Yes, I'd love to. So, Mombirds, the simplest way to talk about it is we are bringing support to working families. And support can take shape in many forms, but for Mombirds, it's a lot of the physical support. So, house helpers who can come in and do a load of laundry, tidy up your kitchen, cut your fruit. And this type of support, historically, a lot of parents have thought of as having full time,
Hmm.
having a full time manager, house manager, where it doesn't feel as accessible. And so, one of the things that Mombirds is setting out to do is providing resources that are fractional, that are flexible, and that are trusted so that you can get what you need when you need it and you don't feel tied in uh, when you don't need it. Because there's some weeks where you might be on top of, the laundry and the tidying of the kitchen or the food prep or the meals. And then there's some weeks where you actually are like, I need help. So house helpers is one of the key areas that Mombirds focuses on. And then the other is executive assistance. So the planning and the researching and the booking of camps
Hmm.
is something that we offer as well. And so that's buying into hourly, services for executive assistants who can do that work for you. And then the house helpers. And then we partner with a lot of other companies who do some amazing things: childcare, babysitters, pet sitters, picking up kids and taking them around for where they need to go. And then our newest partner is in-home chefs. So these are fractional chefs. They can come in, they can cook your family meals. You can pick the groceries. Mombirds can do a lot of the lifting of the meal planning if we know your preferences. The house helper can pick up your groceries, and then a chef can come in and cook, 5 meals that week for you or 3 meals. And especially on a busy week, that's been a lifesaver for us. Side tangent, talk about venting. 6 months ago, about like all the pesticides on fruits and you need to wash them and soak them. And I was like, you have got to be kidding me.
I can't take
There's
it.
another thing. And I'm like, I just won't. I've hit a point where I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I'm
Mhm.
not going to. That's the piece for me that I'd rather invest in building Mombirds and supporting other working families to be able to do this and have access to it while somebody is doing that, right? And they're able to come in fractionally. So there's a lot of people who are working on Mombirds. There are house helpers, and they love it too because they get fractional hours where they can come play to their strengths and help a household stay together. And it's very gratifying to see the connections being made through Mombirds.
Oh my gosh. Well, I could just feel my shoulders go up when you said cut up fruit, picturing myself. The thing that gets me is food waste. I previously worked at waste management, so sustainability is close to my heart, and the amount of food that goes into landfills is atrocious to me. But so when I don't cut up my fruit and I let things go to waste, I carry that guilt so heavily. So the idea that someone could come into my house and help me not only take that off my plate, but ensure that we're reducing the food waste in our household, I love it.
And when you said it, my visual was the drawer, right, in the refrigerator. You open it and it's like all of the things that go to die in there.
Yes.
Like it was so well intended, and then you got busy.
That's what I wake up thinking about. Where can people connect with you and potentially join the Mombirds community?
Mombirds.com. And then you can follow me.
Okay, so they can go to mombirds.com or follow you on Instagram at Mombirds and search for Mombirds on LinkedIn. I do want to do one more fun thing, and that is our quick chatbot mode where I just prompt you with a few quick questions and you tell me whatever comes to mind. So first, I got to know, what is your favorite AI tool? What AI tool is closest to your heart?
ChatGPT has replaced Google for me.
Tell me your best hack for back to school.
I love this hack, okay? It's like saved me. There was another dear friend of mine, New Modern Moms, who runs New Modern Moms, and she posted something similar. It was, and you both came at the same time. So we've done both these things. Taking the school calendar, downloading it, and feeding it into ChatGPT and asking it, giving it a little prompt on exactly how I want it labeled, and then making it put it in the format that I can import it into my Google Calendar. It took all of 60 seconds, right? I used to spend a day going through the calendar, manually adding it every single day, and now I have it and it's all formatted, Davis, no school, inside brackets, what the actual holiday is, and it was done. And now everybody in our family has access to that, so they know, right? And then the football calendar. So I wanted to see what are home games, what are away games, downloaded the calendar, again, did the same thing and added it. So I'm loving ChatGPT for helping me just stay organized, do all of the heavy research. And then for Mombirds, I'm doing some vibe coding because I am trying to make sure that our portal for our members is really beautiful and very easy to use. And so I've been using Claude AI and also playing around with Lovable as well to see which one is best. Now, there's still a lot of back-end connections, so it's not going to fully replace a tried and true coder if you've got some like technical complexity in the stack. But I will say for me, it's like replace the need to have a product designer, a product manager, and I'm like loving it.
For those who might not be familiar, can you describe what vibe coding means?
Really, vibe coding is you don't have to have any computer science background, ability to code yourself. You can be as descriptive as you need and give directions to Claude AI or Lovable, and it will give you a visual output with all of the code base for you to take. So you can go either create the thing or on Lovable, it can create it for you. So it's pretty magical.
I love that for the most surprising way you have used AI, not back to school related, but it's sort of like going back to school because now you're coding without a code background. You're using AI to build for you. It's so amazing. Well, we are all about celebrating other moms' wins and AI-empowered moms. So is there a recent win of yours that we can celebrate?
My recent win is probably the House Helper pilot. I just want to see, does offering up this fractional support really help lift the load of moms? And not only does it, but I've seen some really cute exchanges and things come out of it. So one of our pilot participants just shared this wonderful story that she came home and instead of her and her husband needing to do this like massive task list, since the house helper had kicked all of it off and ticked all of the boxes, they were able to go have a date night and go play tennis. Like this, the thing that I didn't think about was how it could impact the marriage of them spending time together and having a date night rather than frustrated doing the things at home. So that to me was like the big win. The win was, okay, there's something here, but then the impact of the win was like, just gave me the feels.
You know, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Every time it happens, that a wonderful thing about moms in this community is when I ask you about your win is actually about someone else who has success in their life. So just goes to show what a lovely person you are and lovely folks we have in the AI empowered mom community. What's it going to look like for you after drop off, after everyone goes off to school? Do you have anything that you're looking forward to, whether it's listening to a podcast or a show or some kind of ritual? What's post drop off going to look like for you after back to school?
I would love to say that I have some great ritual, but the truth is that I'm probably going to go back to my car, sit there for 10 minutes and cry. I say that like ever having thought that I'd be that mom to do that. Really, because you go and it's a rush and it's first day and okay, he's all set. And then I inevitably walk back, get in my car, and this just always happens. And then oh, this is happening so fast.
Well, our ritual is the same. Oh gosh, well, I have so enjoyed this conversation, and I hope other moms listening as well have too. And I hope the takeaway from today is that back to school season for kids doesn't have to mean burnout and stress for moms, and with the right mindset or your support network, your community around you, moms can enter this season with a little bit more calm and a little bit less chaos. And if you are listening and you have ideas on how to improve back to school for kids, for moms, for anyone, share it with me at contact@aiempoweredmom.com or message me on Instagram. And if you're looking for community or care or meals or laundry or support for the invisible weight of parenting to make sure nothing falls through the cracks, be sure to check out Mombirds. You might find that mom-to-mom connection that you've been missing, and maybe you find yourself playing tennis on date night after all your chores are taken care of. Thank you again, Theresa, for joining me on AI Empowered Mom. It's so wonderful chatting with you today.
Thank you, Sarah.